Is that a kaiju beatdown on the horizon? Well, soon we'll find out, since the Kings are back again. Surely, the two largest and most well-liked titans can't remain dormant for very long. Godzilla, the titanic lizard with the atomic breath, will soon make a triumphant return to the silver screen. No other than Kong, the ruler of the Hollow Earth, will accompany him. A rematch of legendary proportions is absolutely necessary after Godzilla vs. Kong in 2021 ended in something of a draw. Fortunately, a sequel for the big screen is in the works. But first, let's take a step back and briefly recap. As a result of the Godzilla vs. Kong ending, both can live side by side in eventual MonsterVerse films because they are both left in different locations in their respective stories. Godzilla vs. Kong has been in the works for a while now, having first been announced back in 2015. This is the only second time the two iconic monsters have battled one another in a movie, with their first interaction happening in 1962's King Kong vs. Godzilla. The plan for Warner Bros. And Legendary Entertainment was for Adam Wingard's film to be the culmination of the MonsterVerse franchise, which began with Godzilla in 2014 and continued with Kong Skull Island in 2017 and Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019. And the studios promised the entire time that one of the Titans would win, leaving only one alive. Godzilla vs. Kong, on the other hand, takes steps to ensure that not only did Godzilla and Kong both survive, but that future stories were set up by leaving their endings quite open. Godzilla vs. Kong was the climax of 7 years of storytelling, combining elements from all three previous films: the Hollow Earth and Skull Crawlers from Kong Skull Island, everything Monarch learned about the Titans in Godzilla and Ghidorah's head, and Godzilla's alpha status from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Godzilla vs. Kong concluded with a promising outlook that made both monsters kings of their own worlds after two fights, a team-up against Mechagodzilla, and the discovery of the Hollow Earth, a follow-up to the popular 2021 movie Godzilla vs. Kong. The movie will be the fifth in the series, which started with the 2014 Godzilla reboot. Despite being released on HBO Max the same day it opened in theaters, Godzilla vs. Kong was a worldwide smash hit for Warner Bros., earning $468 million. After Godzilla, which was released in 2014, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong, in which the two enormous monsters engaged in combat. This untitled sequel will be the fifth installment in the series. Although the American King Kong franchise and the Japanese Godzilla films have both been around since 1933 and 1954, respectively, this particular branch of the series only began in 2014 with Gareth Edwards' Godzilla. The film launched what is now known as the MonsterVerse, which resulted in the 2017 releases of the prequel Kong Skull Island and the Godzilla King of the Monsters sequel, before they clashed in the 2021 film Godzilla vs. Kong. Each MonsterVerse movie was released every 2 to 3 years, so if Godzilla vs. Kong 2 follows the same release schedule, it won't be out until the end of 2024 or even 2025. Naturally, the COVID-19 pandemic has complicated all scheduling, so it might be some time before viewers get to watch the Titans square off once more on the big screen. However, from what we've heard, the movie will debut in theaters on March 15, 2024. Although, given that Warner Bros. Discover will distribute the film, we wouldn't assume anything until it is actually shown in theaters. WB and Legendary also disclosed which cast members we can expect to see in the upcoming adventure, in addition to announcing the official start of production on the film, which has not yet received an official title. Rebecca Hall as Eileen Andrews, Brian Tyree Henry as Bernie Hayes, and Kaylee Huddle as Gia are just a few of the well-known actors who will reprise their roles. Some other A-listers such as Dan Stevens, Fala Chin, Alex Burns, and Rachel House are also part of the cast, joining Hall, Tyree Henry, and Huddle. The absence of Millie Bobby Brown from the Godzilla vs. Kong 2 cast list suggests that she won't return to play Madison in the sequel, although it is unknown if she will make a comeback. The actress's busy schedule is probably the main reason that she hasn't. Alternatively, Madison's story may have come to an end. Before we continue, we wanted to inform you that it's time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. The impressive cast confirms what we already know. The upcoming MonsterVerse film will match the scope of the previous films, with an equally impressive cast and a sizable budget to bring it all to life. The highly anticipated sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong has been given the working title Origins, hinting that the upcoming film will explore the origins of the Titans and the ancient civilization that inhabited Hollow Earth. Kong, a powerful primate who appeared in Godzilla vs. Kong, entered Hollow Earth in search of a lizard-killing weapon that he could use to defeat Godzilla and establish himself as the true ruler of the jungle. Through this underground journey, we discovered that humans once inhabited Hollow Earth and constructed massive temples to worship Kong's ancestors. Even a throne room with a tiny door at the base of a chair is visible in one scene, indicating that humans and monsters once coexisted. Fans have been wondering where the MonsterVerse would go next since the release of Godzilla vs. Kong, and the origins of Hollow Earth seem to be an exciting concept to explore in a theatrical release. At the conclusion of Godzilla vs. Kong, the two titular colossi split control of Earth. Godzilla remained the supreme monster on the surface, while Kong continued to roam freely in the Hollow Earth jungles. Therefore, it is likely that we will see the enormous gorilla again if the sequel explores Hollow Earth's past. Godzilla vs. Kong also features a character that is related to one of the titular monsters. Just like Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters did, Gia is an orphan who was taken in by Dr. Eileen Andrews after the Iwi, the native people seen in the film Kong Skull Island, were killed on Skull Island. Dr. Andrews claims that Gia's parents died in the storm, which is most likely a reference to the destructive storms that Ghidorah unleashed in Godzilla King of the Monsters, and which destroyed countless cities and regions all over the world. Eileen, who is in charge of Monarch's facility on Skull Island, took Gia in at some point after that. Surprisingly, Gia taught Kong to sign while she was on the island, and to a great extent, as evidenced by the fact that he understands when she tells him that his family might be located inside the Hollow Earth. Similar to early versions of King Kong, Monster vs. Kong is fiercely protective and will go to any lengths to protect Gia. Kong and Gia can talk to each other, unlike in other movies where they only share an unspoken bond, and their bond is strengthened by emotion. They were both once alone in the world, waiting for a family they no longer have. Even after Dr. Andrews and Monarch took in Gia, they developed close bonds with one another. So far, King of the Monsters and the new Hollow Earth Alpha are teaming up to defeat a single threat in Godzilla vs. Kong 2, which is clearly going to be a story about coexistence. Going in this direction would seem appropriate as a follow-up to Godzilla vs. Kong, particularly in light of the fact that the film put an end to their conflict and resolved a long-standing question of which monster would prosper. As a result, you need to smash that subscribe button and that notification bell so that you'll never miss our videos in the future. While Kong may still contain resentment towards Godzilla for defeating him, Godzilla has no motivation to challenge Kong again. As a result, it will be much simpler for the MonsterVerse to transition smoothly from Godzilla vs. Kong's brutal duel to the sequel's full-length team-up. See you in the next video.